President has had some things to say about the Windy City several times in recent days.
Next should be Chicago, because as you all know, Chicago is a killing field right now. Everybody knows Chicago is a hellhole right now. Everybody knows it.
You know, he wakes up in the morning and whatever whim strikes him is what he apparently says. And recently, I guess I've been living rent free in his head. Chicago apparently is living rent free in his head, even though on other days he'll talk about Baltimore, he'll talk about New York. Notice he never talks about where the most violent crime is occurring, which is in red states. Illinois is not even in the bottom half of states in terms of violent crime. But do you hear him talking about Florida, where he is now from? No, you don't hear him talking about that, or Texas. Their violent crime rates are much worse in other places, and we're very proud of the work that we've done, and we want more help. You know what kind of help we want? Civilian law enforcement help. We would like ATF agents to help us take more guns off the streets.
It's down nearly 50% in the 3 weeks since the National Guard moved in. Assault's down 41%, homicides down 69%, robbery down 63%, and the mayor concedes carjacking, which would become a bigger problem, down 83% since the federal agents showed up. So this kind of deployment he's set up in Washington that he says he wants to do in other cities, at least in Washington, is showing potential success. And what I hear you saying is, well, sure, if they show up, it might help us too.
I'm saying we don't want troops on the streets of American cities.
Right.
That's un-American. And frankly, the President of the United States ought to know better. This one doesn't seem to. He hasn't read any books. He doesn't seem to understand the Constitution or the laws.
But he just sends the FBI, the ATF, the EA.
Yeah, they're here already.
And sends more of them.
We have some working with us now. Would love more help. You know what else he's doing? He's cutting funds that help us to fight violent crime from the federal government.
And give me an example of how those cuts have affected the ability to fight crime in Chicago.
So let me just tell you what happened in Illinois when we had a Republican governor and he cut funding for programs that help prevent crime. What happened was we saw a significant increase in crime. Donald Trump is now doing the same thing. He's taking away federal funding for those programs, which are so important to us. We've increased funding at the state level, but we need that federal funding. It's on top of that. One more thing. The business community in the city of Chicago got together and put $100 million forward to help us back in 2022, to help us to fight crime through these prevention programs. It's working. Crime is down. I mean, murders are down 50% in the city of Chicago. And you can go through every statistic. Almost everything is much better as a result of that work. Donald Trump is trying to take that money away, and he isn't listening to the business community here. He isn't listening to the clergy here. He isn't listening to people on the ground, Republicans here who understand that putting troops on the city of Chicago's streets is going to cause more problems than he understands.
What do you think it's going to do to the country if that happens? Deploying in Washington where he has federal control is one thing. But if he sends military forces into a major American city in a state that they didn't ask for, beyond Los Angeles, what do Americans make of that?
Well, they should understand that he has other aims other than fighting crime. That's the first thing they should understand. The second is it's an attack on the American people by the President of the United States. Now, he may disagree with a state that didn't vote for him, but should he be sending troops in? No.
You said he has other aims. What are the other aims?
The other aims are that he'd like to stop the elections in 2026 or, frankly, take control of those elections. He'll just claim that there's some problem with an election, and then he's got troops on the ground that can take control, if in fact he's allowed to do this.
Are you talking about invasion? I hear you talking about him suspending elections? Or is it your belief he's an authoritarian?
Look, I can tell you this. I built a Holocaust museum. I know what the history was of a constitutional republic being overturned after an election in 53 days. And I'm very, very concerned. We could talk about lots of authoritarian regimes in the world, but that just happens to be the one that I know. And I can tell you that the playbook is the same. It's thwart the media. It's create mayhem that requires military interdiction. These are things that happen throughout history, and Donald Trump is just following that playbook.
Is there any chance Illinois redraws its congressional lines before next year's midterm elections?
That's not something that I want to do. It's not something that any of us want to do. But I have to say, if Donald Trump is going to force his will on the American people by going to his MAGA allies in various states and having them redraw in the middle of a decade, when you're supposed to be doing it right after a census, with a year ending in 1, not a year ending in 5. If he's going to do that all over the country, I think all of us have to think about what it is that we can do to counter that.
What much more could you do, though, as an Illinois Democrat? I mean, your map already gets an F for most good government groups for being gerrymandered. Would you wipe out all the Republican districts?
Yeah, it is possible to have more Democratic districts in the state of Illinois, and we could do it. Like I said, it's not something that I want to do.